Hello, hello, hello. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Hello Canal podcast. My name is Kevin, and in this podcast, we bring to you all sorts of topics, all sorts of discussions, and it's just more of a way to kill your time as well as to pick up on, learn on some things that are happening both worldwide as well in Malaysia. So for today's topic, hopefully you guys, where should I even begin? Okay, so we're just trying to dive straight into the topic. As of the past few months, right? Since this pandemic has begun, we're already 1 year and 1.5 years into this pandemic, right? And things have gotten to a very, very dangerous extent to the mentality of the people around. A few things has happened since the pandemic started, right? The first thing would be all of our economies are hit. Basically, a lot of things, a lot of businesses are shutting down. They're not able to sustain, right? That's the biggest problem. And the second thing is when businesses fail, the people that are employed suffer too, right? So in the past few months, I've been hearing a lot of people that have mentally broken down. They're looking at what their current work is. Since the pandemic has started, some businesses that are not doing too well, they will lay off people, they will reduce the salaries, right, from some of their employees. And it's not only that when you lay off someone, that doesn't always mean that the work is reduced, right? It means that that person's work is then passed on to someone that still exists in the company. And if you're still around, basically, you might just get additional scope, additional responsibilities, right? And that's not really sustainable in the long term, because that additional work may come at longer hours, more effort, and it will drain you not only physically and mentally as well. So here's the thing: when people get laid off, that's where we have a high amount of people with no jobs, and then they need to find their own way of securing money, either for their family or for themselves. And this puts additional pressure on everyone. But today, I just want to focus a bit on the people that still have jobs, right? Because I know they're not as in a threat or in a risk of anything, but these people are the ones that are still trying to sustain the economy, sustain everything that's happening right now at the cost of more effort, right? And people are breaking down. People cannot take it anymore. It's taking a toll on everyone. It's taking a toll on me as well from time to time. And that's where I want to bring up the discussion is now the right time to look for a different job or a change of job, right? People, they feel like they can no longer sustain whatever effort they're putting in. They could be working late nights, and they're not seeing the benefits, the advantages of working overtime. Or at least the main benefit that you have for working overtime is keeping your job and keeping your salary. So that's horrible. So yes, let's go into topic here. If you are looking for a new job right now, what is causing this? Is it because of your personal life problems? Is it because of work problems, or is it because of something else? Because I do understand, since we are restricted from travel, sometimes personal issues can get into matters. You might be separated from your loved one, your family, your friends, and stuff like that. And sometimes after work, between work, we do try to find some time to kill, right? Like meeting our friends. We're very social animals, and that just helps us release stress on many, many levels. And now that has been taken away from us. So without this interaction that we truly, really need very often, people do break down. People get stressed. People get riled up easily, and things happen, right? So even recently, we do see a case of someone jumping off the fourth floor of a shopping mall. Although I still haven't figured out what the reason was behind them suiciding, but that happened. So I wouldn't be surprised if they come and tell me that this person has depression and has been looking to take their own life for some time now due to the pandemic. So back to the topic, is now the right time to leave a job? There are two answers to this, right? I mean, take whatever I say with a pinch of salt, maybe not a pinch, maybe a whole handful. Changing jobs right now, it really depends on two things. Number one, can you still sustain yourself or your family? Probably within a period of 6 months, because you don't know if there's a guarantee that you'll be able to get a new job, or the right job within the 6 months, right? That's the first thing. Do you have sustainable income for 6 months? Second thing is, are you at the verge of breaking down? Are you already there at your limit and say, if I'm going to work one more day, I'm going to, go crazy and go off my mind? So if your answer is yes for the second one, I would recommend to maybe take a day or two off, right? Just calm down, ease down. There's plenty of holidays in Malaysia. If there's a chance you can utilize one of them to just sit down and think about it, then maybe you may have the right answer for yourself, right? Because, how should I say this? Opportunities right now, there are some jobs that are popping up. It may not have the right not everyone may have the right qualification, but just in case you do have it, right? Maybe you can consider applying for it, and if they do accept you, that's one thing. But given this pandemic, this lockdown that is constantly coming in and out, right? Sometimes lockdown happens for no reason. I mean, not to say for no reason, but the lockdown happens depending on the number of cases, and the number of cases that always spikes up, as we may not be able to predict how often and how fast. So you may be just entering your new second job, but we have a second lockdown, and this is when businesses will be impacted once more. And since you are the newest joiner, you might just be the first person to be let go, right? Because you have not had any experience, knowledge, or any transition of the information of the new company. You'll be the first to go. So that is the risk that I see as well, and I try to advise the people around me on such situations. But there are some people, that have the benefit of saying, hey, I have accumulated enough amount of money to sustain maybe 3 to 6 months. And if you truly believe that now is the right time to maybe take a step out, then I would say go for it. Make sure that this new job that you're looking for can at least beat whatever is happening, has more advantages or benefits than what you're currently experiencing, right? You never know until you get in there, unfortunately. So you only have to take your chances, right? Make sure that this company has the same goals, same direction that you are looking for, at least with the same alignment of expectations. Maybe you fit in better, and you'll be able to take in whatever is coming with a little bit of passion, right? With a little bit of motivation and inspiration. That usually keeps us going longer. But if it doesn't align with the goal that you want, you're only in it for the money, you may not last long enough, right? Because there's nothing driving you every day to make it better. And that's always the struggle I see between employers and employees. The employers always have a clear direction of what they want the business to grow into, or maybe like they want, revenue, right? Money is always key. But from an employee's perspective, sometimes they are just there to support. They may not have the same goals, right? And if my company only wants to rack up money, then I'm just going to, work brain dead and just submit and comply with whatever standards and just do the bare minimum. But if the company has a good goal to say, hey, I'm going to try and stop world poverty, even though that's, I would say, impossible. But if the company has this kind of goal and you do believe in it, then you will definitely submit to it and you'll be able to contribute more. Think about it from the standpoint of religion. Okay. Yeah, because you see, religion, everyone believes in everyone within the same religion believes in the same thing, technically, and they're willing to work for it. They're willing to convert people even without any money, right? They're willing to do it for the good cause that they believe in. And technically, this kind of meaningful actions should also be translated, or can be, can be interpreted within your job scope as well. So that's what we try to be. So yeah, that's it. That's how. Those are just some of the things you want to consider without going into details, because everyone may have a different reason of their own to want to change jobs at this point of time. But yeah, just take a consideration, take a pause, take a break, right? If you can. Doesn't matter if your boss hates you or not, because this is your time to decide. Do I want my boss to like me more, to forgive me and come back stronger? Or well, my boss hates me anyway and I'm on my way out, so be it, right? Not really the best advice, but do try to keep your networks and connections open as well, even if you leave, because who knows, maybe in the future you might be, recruited again, or you might just be able to maintain a connection well enough to come out and collaborate or to do something together with one of your network connections, right? So that's fine. And on the same topic of people that are looking into changing jobs, right? There's this video that came up yesterday that caught my attention, and this is regarding the Grab food. So this morning, I personally like to prefer to go out to take away my breakfast. Reason being is because sometimes I do still feel the need to leave the house. If not, I'll just get severely depressed. But once I'm outside, I do take all the necessary precautions to stay away from people, and also just going to the shop saves me much more money than Grab delivery. But once I'm at the shop, right, so I was just trying to get some bread with some fillings inside, like bacon and peanut butter and pumpkin, stuff like that. What I saw was ahead of me, there were a lot of people that were waiting for their orders. And I was just saying, okay, well, this place is popular, fine, so be it. But I was the only actual customer there. Everyone before me and after me were basically Grab drivers, right? And they're from all races, Chinese, Malay, Indian, so on and so forth. And that really puts a perspective into our economy as of now. With everything locked down, with us not being able to travel around with the freedom that we want to, people have started moving into delivery, okay? And this could be many forms of delivery. It could be Grab food, it could be even delivering goods like Ninja, Parcel Hub, even DHL, stuff like that. These sectors are growing extremely quick, but even though it's growing extremely quick, we do see a lot of issues as well, because the orders do pile up, and there's something to do with this kind of corporations that make them feel evil. And when I say evil is, every time I see a Grab driver, there are two things that come to mind. The first thing is, okay, these Grab drivers, they are very kasian, they're very, I feel sad for them that rain or shine, they have to deliver their food, and they have to wait for the food, they have to deal with the customers that some of them may not even be nice, right? If their food is cold, they'll complain, stuff like that. People are trying to survive. My wife personally ordered Grab food a few days back, and the person that delivered her food was what was that again? Mute, deaf. Yes, that was it, deaf. So and that person, the Grab delivery driver, brought along his girlfriend as well. They were both equally deaf, and the only way that they could tell my wife is that, hey, can you come down and get the food now through messaging, and say, sorry, we're deaf, we may not be able to speak to the guard to send up food and stuff like that. So that brought a tear to my wife. She tried to pick up how to say thank you in sign language as soon as possible, and it's just heartbreaking to see, okay? That is what's happening in our community right now. Grab drivers, they're equally suffering, but at least they're trying their best to survive. On the other hand, as a driver myself, Grab drivers sometimes are the most annoying people, because they'll drive sometimes, sometimes to a fault of their own, but sometimes not to a fault of their own. Sometimes they're getting around, right? And they're just crossing red lights. They're shooting past red lights to say, hey, I need to go to my destination, be it to pick up food or to deliver food, right? So I'll discuss a bit on detail about that in a bit. And the other thing is, sometimes they're, not to say caught, but they need to use the phone while they're driving, because sometimes there are directions or changes in the Waze or Google Maps, and they just need to figure out how to get to the location as soon as possible. So that causes them to drive sometimes a bit recklessly, actually not even a bit, very recklessly. They don't put turn signals, but that's pretty much everyone in Malaysia as well anyways. And they do sometimes cause problems, especially when they're driving while using the handphone, or if they're just crossing red lights. it just delays traffic to a certain extent, right? And I'm sure everyone who has driven, who don't order Grab as much, will despise the drivers because their behavior can easily cause accidents around the world. I mean, around Malaysia on the road, right? But there is also a very bad circulating evil here that's happening, because what happens is they're based on a commission system and based on review rating system, which means that if you're a good driver that usually gets 5-star rating and you do deliver your food on time, that means that you will get the highest commission possible per delivery. And this is a system that is set up by Grab, the main company itself. So Grab as a whole, a few years back, they bought over Uber to monopoly the entire market in Malaysia. So that gives them full access to do everything that they can to monopoly and also to capture the entire market to suit their needs. Initially, it was a good idea because they did seem to provide higher profitability to the drivers, and that's why most of the drivers moved from Uber to Grab, right? And even back then, Uber is because they do have, whenever they try to submit a customer to a driver, you must accept it. There's no way to decline, but Grab does have that option. So anyways, 3 years down up till now, we have Grab delivery and other sorts of Grab functionalities like Grab Pay. And Grab, overall, it does seem like a good corporation, but in terms of how it handles its drivers, its so-called employees, contractor employees, they do not give them any kind of basic salary. They do not give them EPF and SOCSO. And they do put very, very harsh restrictions on the timing of delivering their food to their customers, especially for GrabFood, right? So there are two parts to this. Whenever someone orders food from, for instance, a restaurant, that restaurant is expected to respond and provide the food in a timely manner so that the Grab drivers can grab them on time and deliver them to the final destination, which is you, the customer. But sometimes the restaurants or the hawker stalls, it takes them a longer time to prepare. And there's a time limit. Let's say if a delivery should require 30 minutes, if the restaurant takes 20 to 25 minutes, right? That means the driver has that 5 to 10 minutes remaining to get the food delivered to you quickly. So that, because if they don't get it on time, then they lose a bit on the commission and it's a waste of effort. So that's one of the main reasons causing them to go crash red lights, to drive recklessly and to just cause a bit of annoyance to us drivers on the main road. But we also need to take into consideration that this is done by their main corporation. This is how they are trying to rule over the drivers. So these drivers, they're basically controlled by this timing aspect as well as the review rating to get the best commission. And this is how they need to do it. So that's why if you're a frequent Grab food person or just if you use Grab often enough, if you do think the service is good, please always remember to leave a rating. And if you have additional money to spare, please give them or tip them $1 or $2 or something like that, because I do hope that all of this tipping goes directly into their pocket and they would see that everything that they've done is rewarded. And I mean, we do want to compliment them for their efforts in delivering the food, no matter how hard or how tough it is, right? So we can each try to play our part if possible. And also just to share, there are many accidents with Grab drivers, right? And many have died. Up to, what was the number again? 100 that have died in the past year. So these Grab drivers, they do not, they're not covered in any kind of insurance because there's no company insurance covering them. There's nothing. So if they don't have life insurance of their own, and if they do succumb to any life-threatening accidents, that's it. For you, it might be a small issue. You just don't get your food. For them, their loved ones have lost someone that they care about. So take it from both ways, right? Please do consider that sometimes these Grab drivers are suffering from their aspect as well, and we need to be accommodating to them. But the real issue here is just Grab in general. There should be some kind of way for the government to regulate and to control how platforms like Grab can treat their so-called contractors better. Maybe give them some kind of insurance or to give them better commission and stuff like that. I'm not sure how they want to regulate it, but they should be doing something for the benefit and welfare of not only the driver, the driver's dependents as well, just in case anything happens to the drivers, right? So yeah, that is what I have experienced so far with Grab drivers. Whew, there was a lot. And also, this is just a vicious cycle because at the end of the day, capitalists will still be capitalists, even though it violates human rights. As long as there are people willing to do the job, then that job will exist for a reason. Yeah. So I do understand that if the government can regulate, then they will definitely make lives better for everyone. But knowing our government here, maybe it's still 100 years too early to talk on this topic. Okay. So, anyways, this is going off topic very much. For people that are thinking about quitting their job, or if you don't have any jobs, please don't take a job. I mean, if you do need money, there are many avenues to do so. There are many donation drives happening around, so you can do look them up in case you do need some food and you're not able to afford too much yourself. Do subscribe to some of these donation drives. I'm sure that they'll be able to provide some canned food or some rice or some kind of food ingredients that can help you sustain for a while. Once I do find additional information, I'll definitely put it in the details of this podcast. And if you guys need, you can probably click the link once I found it. But as of now, I haven't found anything that is live because nobody is expected to travel much during this FMCO. So there are certain locations that are locked out of our reach. So let me find something within Malaysia, and then I'll share that out within Selangor as well. Okay, so that pretty much brings us to the end of this topic. People, I know that these are tough times going on. As I think we had the lowest number of cases, which is 6,000 recently. So I think that's a very good number. We're still dropping down. Please stay home as much as you can. Let this pandemic end as soon as possible for us Malaysians so that we can get back to work, get back into the economy, and hopefully we can create more new jobs for everyone around. Please stay safe, take care. And if you think you want to hear more on information like this, please do like, share, subscribe to us on Hello Cannot Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, or you can even find us on YouTube. And please just leave a comment if you feel like it. Thanks, and please take care, guys. Stay safe, and bye.